quiet seaside town, an evil laid to rest centuries ago, has risen. An abandoned fortress deep in the swamp holds a secret that could save the village or destroy it. Now, a band of adventurers sets out to dig up the wounds of the past and bring the light of day to the roots of ruin. This is Tabletop Gold.
Hello, welcome to episode 4 of Tabletop Gold. My name is Lars Casteen. I am here right now with Robin Lange.
Hi.
Armand Humphreys.
Hello.
David Chernicoff.
Hey there.
And Zoe Chernicoff.
Howdy.
Guys, we're here for another episode of what some are calling, we had our episodes launch last week. We're recording this, of course, in the past and have no idea what sort of reception any of those episodes that we posted last week had, but I think we can all assume that everybody is really happy and is really enjoying it, just telling their friends.
That New York Times 5-star review was just fantastic.
It was weird. Sam Sifton loved it.
Now that I'm famous, I'm going to be just totally unbearable on the mic. Just letting everyone know.
So nothing's going to change.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. I didn't realize we were going to have a razzing show.
Yeah, we got so successful so fast, we're already at the part of the behind the music episode where we have creative tension.
I just wanted to ask everybody a question. I was just visiting my where I grew up. I was visiting my parents in the town of beautiful Charlottesville, Virginia. And I had a realization. There is in Charlottesville, there's a food restaurant. There's a restaurant, there's a place. There is a food venue, a place where you can go to buy food. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
I'm so glad you went with food. There were so many other things I could have said about Charlottesville and food. That's the safe topic.
I feel like each paraphrase you layered onto the word restaurant there, I felt like I understood what you were talking about less and less.
So tell us about this eatery.
It's less than I want to tell you about the eatery. The eatery in question is Bodo's Bagels, which for residents of Charlottesville is like the place, right? It's like there are 3 of them in Charlottesville, a town of 45,000 people, dotted around the town so that anybody in town can get to a Bodo's efficiently and quickly. And it's just like the kind of local place where you see your friends, you see people you haven't seen since high school. The food is
the best kind of people.
It's okay. It's like very good food. You go there, you eat it. It's like a local eatery that is kind of like an essential part of the quality of the place, and is a place that anybody who is from that place knows intimately. And I was wondering if the places that you guys grew up have a place like that you have fond memories of.
I for sure do. I grew up mostly in Milton, Massachusetts, and there is a sandwich shop there called Bent's Sandwiches. That is,
what kind of sandwiches are we talking about? Are we talking like sub sandwiches, little peanut butter and jelly? What are we talking about from Bent's Sandwiches?
They were a bakery, basically. Originally, it was they were hard water or hard water tack. Is that the name of the kind of biscuits? The sailor hardtack. Thank you.
Yeah.
It just feels like a Moby Dick chapter. Some chowder and
So what's your go-to order at Bent's sandwiches?
Well, for a while, it was the classic ham and provolone, but there was also a very fancy one with like turkey and barbecue sauce and sourdough bread and various cheeses and meats. It
sounds lovely.
It was super lovely. It's one of the things I remember most fondly of.
A little fresh baked bread, a little provolone.
What
more
not
could
to
you
love?
ask for? Yeah, exactly. Does anybody else have any like fond memories of childhood eateries?
It's weird for me because the place I'm from is in some ways also not really the place I'm from.
Go on.
I went to a school not in my town growing up, and then I went to boarding school. So, so I have a very different experience also of growing up in my hometown than my siblings do, because they all went to public school their whole time, but I'm the youngest, and by the time I grew up, my parents were like, this public schools do not seem as good as when her siblings went there, so we're going to try private school instead. But we did have this one sandwich shop, another sandwich shop, just called Pine Hill Deli in Stamford. And for a long time, it was like right around the corner of my parents' house. And then sometime in the last 10 years, they lost their lease and they had to move to a different neighborhood.
But they're still going.
They're still going. And I will still walk in there. And I've been going in there since I was like 5 years old. And I walk in there and it's the same family running it. The son and his sister run it now. And I walk in and they say, "Hey, how's it going? Well, how's your dad?" We check in, and it's like the only meat that I eat each year. I'll get like one sandwich there a year because
you have such a strong connection to this place that you have different rules about your diet.
If it is a special occasion, say like I haven't seen my brother in a while, my brother and I are both at my parents' house, we will go and we'll get a sub and we'll go and say hi and check in and see how everyone's doing with the family who runs it.
That's great.
I don't know if it's like it's more of a family thing for me than for like this is where all of my friends went. I don't know anyone else who went there, but for my family, it was like this was where we go for like the really good Italian combo subs because the bread was amazing and the mom makes this vinaigrette that she puts on it, and the vinaigrette is like addictive, and then it soaks into the bread and the whole thing just marries together into this beautiful salt bomb of a sandwich.
I want to go right now. This sounds fantastic.
Yeah, you come out to Stanford.
A nice
you come out to Stanford
combo.
This summer, Lars. We'll get you one of these Italian combos.
A summer in Stamford, Connecticut.
We'll go
is that where we're going
poolside.
to?
Yeah, we'll go poolside. My parent, hanging out at my parents'
And nothing
pool
better than spending a summer in Stamford. Let's go.
I need a bunch of salt.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, every listener by now is just like, forget this.
You.
I'm hungry.
Right. They're just all off making sandwiches.
You know what, listener,
welcome.
why don't you pause it, head on over to the refrigerator, get a couple slices of bread, throw some mayonnaise on there, and whatever other fixins you want to toss onto that thing. Treat yourself while you're enjoying this role-playing game podcast.
Yeah.
Zoe, David, where are you at with this whole
So I am struggling.
situation?
I feel like similar to Robin. So I moved a lot as a kid, not like a ton, but I actually, we were just talking about how Matt has recently moved into his apartment in Austin. That was before we started recording. But so I was born in San Diego, but lived in a small mountain town where my family owns a cabin until I was like not quite a year old. We then moved to Austin where my mom got her PhD. But I left when I was 6. So I basically only remember ice cream in Austin. Most of my memories from like all travel and move are just ice cream.
I think that's
good. I think that's absolutely fair.
Fiend.
And then I moved to Albany, New York, where I lived until I was 15.
Where in Albany were you?
Well, so Guilderland suburbs.
I'm going to be up in Delmar very soon.
Okay, Delmar. I'm sure things have changed. It's been a while for me.
Zoe, where do you recommend Robin get an ice cream? When
In
she
Delmar.
visits
Where do I
Albany?
go for an ice cream in Delmar?
So, there was a place in Voorheesville that we would drive to that was near a cool wooden playground that got built that's now probably like a total piece, right? So Voorheesville was where we would drive to go to ice cream. I think it was just called like Voorheesville Ice Cream. If we were going closer, we'd go to a place called, not kidding, The Corner Store.
Yes.
So yeah, and then I moved to
Very
San
easy to look
Diego,
up.
and anyways,
I'll
this
get
is
some
like
ice cream in Voorheesville for you.
yeah.
Yeah, just
Named
find the
after Jason,
haunted,
of course.
the haunted playground, and run around looking for
if you
ice
get
cream.
splinters and you're in Voorheesville, ask for ice cream, and it should work out.
Excellent.
Yeah.
But David, what have you got? What's going on with your what's so great about where you grew up and eating food?
Well, okay. I feel like the question has gotten more hostile since it was first asked. So I grew up in Berkeley, California, and there's like a lot of restaurants that are still from when I was growing up that are still there,
world
that are really
famous institutions.
that are really wonderful. And like
My impression of Berkeley, California, as somebody who's basically never been there, is that it is full of iconic eateries like what we're talking about right now.
Well, I mean, listen, I'm like, in Berkeley, like cheeseboard pizza, Fat Apples, which is a diner.
cheeseboard pizza. Let's talk about that. What is a cheeseboard pizza?
This is almost like too stock an answer. So anybody from Berkeley is like, oh, I can't believe you said that first. Like I should be giving you a deeper cut. Cheeseboard is a pizza place, or what it is a cheese shop that began also making pizza at a certain point. They make one kind of pizza every day. It is not like traditional red sauce pie. It usually has, oil and garlic, or maybe like a pesto thing every once in a while, but mostly oil and garlic and fresh vegetables. And it is absolutely delightful.
Like they'll straight up put corn on a pizza and you will not feel sad about it. It's like California style.
I was gonna say any produce from California on a pizza, I bet is amazing.
And it's incredible. And the line is always around the block, and you buy it and you take it out and you sit on the median in the middle of the street in North Berkeley. And it's like a standby kind of place that you go. There's
I just had to start a low fat diet by my doctor's orders, and you're killing me, David.
Let's get into the game.
So Lars, we're in a round room with a pool of blood in the middle.
Yeah, I just want to recap a little bit.
Shit is getting real.
Yeah, you're here in Gauntlet Keep, the fortress surrounding an ancient lighthouse that has recently been seen lighting up with a faint blue glow at night after lying dormant for hundreds of years. You've had some interactions with irritable, small blue creatures you've identified as mitflits, some of who seem to be trying to train a 150-pound maggot with a saddle and bridle. You've worked your way through the fortress to the lighthouse it surrounds, which is oddly well preserved. You've just knocked the door to the lighthouse off its hinges, and now you're standing in a room at the base of the lighthouse. The room is circular, painted light gray, with a set of iron stairs spiraling up the walls, ending about 100 feet up in a trap door. But the thing that catches your eye is a red blood stain in front of you. It looks as though a person has bled out here, except that the red blood stain, even though it appears to be only a millimeter or so thick, is rippling as though it is the top of a deep pool. What would you like to do now?
Forgive me if this is a little too on the nose, but I would like to learn more about the menacing pool of blood.
Sure.
So what kind of how can we look into that at all?
So while Mags is scratching her head, Norman sort of he sees it. He was being stealth behind everyone, but he sees the blood and he goes, fascinating. And he sort of like he doesn't want to touch it yet, but he crawls up next to it and sort of kneels next to it. See if he can learn anything.
So Mag is also going to Mag will flank the pool of blood and kneel on the opposite side.
Catch that pool of blood flat-footed.
That's right. Just
the pool of blood is looking at both of you, therefore you can stab it more effectively.
So is it like half a millimeter thick now?
Right.
It's flat.
And Norman is he's very intrigued by it moving. He still doesn't want to touch it, but he is slowly levitating little droplets of it up in the air to like kind of spin them around and look at them and see if he can learn anything from it. Honestly, partly just to play with it without touching it. But
have we ever seen Norman levitate anything before?
He's been doing telekinetic powers during the fights.
Oh, okay, right.
That corpse that he threw at us.
I do recall that now,
corpses.
Yes.
Yeah. Norman's special attack is finding the most upsetting thing in the room and hurling it at the biggest enemy.
Trill is creeped out by the blood, but she's really very curious, more so about the fact that they're in the lighthouse now. And she's wants to know what's going on with that light that's coming from the lighthouse. She's kind of going around the edge of it, trying to not get in trouble for once and not just rush headlong in, but she's definitely moving around the edge and starting to look up the stairs more.
Haplo is going to try and use his Rose Guard lore to try and recall knowledge and see if he knows anything of the history of this room.
Norman kneeling and investigating this, and Mag, I'll say the same. You are able to tell from the way that, like, you're moving the blood around, you're getting closer at it, and you're seeing the ripple. This appears to be magical. One.
Rippling blood is magical? What?
There's a breeze. It's a magical breeze. I don't know if any of you have detect magic, but if you did, you would probably be detecting magic right about now. So I'm going to say that I think that you can probably get a sense of what this is like with a religion or an occultism check, probably.
Norman is going to do an occultism check.
Mag has a 0 modifier for occultism, so she will do a religion check with her 0 modifier for religion. Is it possible to learn anything more about this by, like, intimidating it or crafting it?
Deceiving it.
I mean, you can try things out, because neither one of you, as you take a look at this, neither Norman's experience with the occult nor Mag's research at the Dawnflower Library has given you much insight into exactly what this is.
So Norman shouts out, "Guys, it's magical, and I think it was left here as a message for us."
Haplo, could you take a look?
Certainly.
So Haplo's Rose Guard lore doesn't seem relevant to this situation. You can make other checks if you'd like to, but nothing in anything that you've read about the Rose Guard suggests anything about a pool of blood left in the lighthouse.
Okay, and nothing about the lighthouse itself in general? Like, nothing ever happened in the lighthouse?
I think you know that the Rose Guard came to the fortress surrounding the lighthouse to fight the sorcerer Belcora here, but you don't know anything specific about this room as it relates to that conflict.
Cool. We must be on our guard. Though I can't recall anything in my reading about the events here in this part of the keep, I must say there is the instinct of magic about this. 4 came to battle Belcora, and now 4 are here again. Let us move carefully, friends. And he moves up and makes an occultism check on the pool of blood.
Okay, here's your occultism check. Yeah, I think that occultism is probably not as good a skill as religion is for determining exactly what it is that's going on here. All you can really tell is that this is some sort of magically sustained blood.
Okay.
You guys want to make an offering to it? Norman says, taking one of the teeth out of his pocket and plunking it into the pool of blood.
So as Norman drops the tooth into the pool of blood,
Here goes.
Nothing happens.
Okay, all right.
Does it ripple?
It's rare. Yes, it ripples. You're looking at it. You just see a tooth sitting in the pool of blood. It doesn't fall into the pool of blood. It doesn't seem, the blood around it still ripples as though it is a deep pool, but it is not, in fact, a deep pool.
Does the tooth disappear, or is it just kind of sitting there in the millimeter?
It's just sitting there.
And Norman goes, "Ugh, perfectly good tooth, wasted."
As Trill looks up this iron staircase working its way up the perimeter of the room, you don't see anything in particular new by investigating from this angle. You do see that there are no seams between the blocks of stone, that the stone looks incredibly well set. Looking up at this staircase with this trapdoor in this ceiling 100 feet above, I imagine it makes you slightly dizzy. I don't know what Trill's relationship is with that kind of thing, but if I were there, I would probably need to grab a hold of the railing on this stair to keep myself from falling over.
I mean, she's not going up the stairs. She's just looking up. But yeah, she definitely she doesn't love she likes the ground. You know, gnomes they're not for heights necessarily. But she leans against the wall.
Everything all right there, Trill?
These stairs, they're just so kind of perfect. Like there's no seams or anything. It's just the same thing one after another, and it just keeps going up and up and up and up. And ooh, I'm feeling a little lightheaded.
Anyone see anything hanging that might have dropped this blood? I don't know. It seems like it must have come from someone getting killed or someone trying to send us a message.
Even with her slight vertigo now, Trill's eyes kind of go up to the center of the ceiling to see if she can see anything up with her dark vision.
And Norman also has dark vision.
So the light in here during the day, I'm going to say it's dim light, so you are able to see up. You don't, as you stare up, looking for the sign of if there's a source of blood that could have fallen, you notice that the trap door is not directly above this pool of blood. The pool of blood is right smack dab in the middle of the room, and the trap door does not line up with that. The trap door is slightly to the eastern side of the room.
Lars, is there a, just looking at the map that we can see on screen, is there a door off to the west of this pool of blood as well?
There is a door off to the west in this room. That's true.
Let's take a look at that. What does that door look like, and anything about it?
Sure.
Also, at some point in here, Norman wants to try and heal himself, but we can, maybe while someone's looking at the door.
Okay, so Mag heads over to the door while Norman starts to treat wounds.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Guys, I got this.
Yeah.
Remember what a good job I did with Tableau?
Let's get the treat wounds first. So that's a medicine check from Norman. Or if you can convince somebody else to treat your wounds, it's a medicine check from them.
No, I got it.
Isn't that what you said last time, Norman?
Allow me to register my disbelief at the statement.
Teetered on the edge of a 20, but went to an 8 for an 11.
Oh.
So how do you react to that?
Well, feeling better.
So as you hear Norman shout out that he is feeling better, Mag, you take a look at this door, and it's another one of these waterlogged, messed up, falling off the hinges doors that you've seen in this fortress. In better shape than the other doors that you've seen because it is attached to the lighthouse, but it's seen better days.
I think perhaps we ought to clear some of these rooms so we're not leaving potential adversaries behind us.
I quite agree. There were 2 others in the last chamber, and there's this one here.
Shall we proceed through this one or move through the previous chambers?
Trill, you see anyone upstairs behind us?
I don't see anything coming. Just, the stairs repeating forever. Armet, we can't hear you.
Well-
Oh, I was trying to do an echo for you.
It's gonna sound great in post. In post, that echo
Yeah.
is gonna slap.
It's gonna kill y'all.
Slap, slap, slap.
That's what they say.
Slap.
That's
Yeah.
what the kids say. It slaps.
Mhm.
I'm far too old to
I don't
slap.
know.
As an 18-year-old, I completely agree with you.
Old sport, Norman chimes in. He's got kind of like a piece of gauze on his face that's clearly not fixed anything. I hear you saying you want to clear the rooms, but aren't we all here to figure out what's going on with that light? I mean,
You may be here for that, but I am here because this is my life's work. I have studied Otari my entire life. This is my first opportunity to enter the keep, and I intend to take every advantage here.
So you want to survey every room?
I do indeed. Do you understand what we stand on here? This is the origin of Otari. The Rose God came here and slew the sorceress Belcora.
I thought this was just a crumbling old building with some light.
This is history itself.
So far, it's a crumbling old building that's full of hit flits and they're strange, massive, domesticated beasts. I'm not sure we should be leaving too many of those sitting behind us.
So we want to go through this other door?
Look, guys, I'll go where you want, but I want to find that light.
Yes. We will most certainly attempt to solve this issue. But as I said, I have an instinct that what we do today is connected deeply with the past. Four came, four are here again. Can you not sense the magic inherent in it?
And Norman sort of gets interested truly interested for the first time, and he goes, "What kind of magic do you mean?"
That's the thing. I haven't a clue. Who knows what we'll discover? The potential is endless. They say Belcora was a powerful dark sorceress, and the darkness, it has many rewards for its servants.
Norman grins broadly, and he goes, "Yes, the darkness. All right, where do you want to go?"
Trill's feeling a little uncomfortable with all this. She doesn't love the darkness.
Well, as well she shouldn't.
Should we head back to the first room and sweep the original?
I mean, if you're talking about this, I feel like we should just go through this door that's right here.
All right, let's do that.
Yeah, start with this. We should go back and I think we should go back and get those others at a certain point. I was tempted to start with those last time, but this one was all like glowing and important seeming. So
Yeah, it definitely seems as though something is preserving the lighthouse itself. And the area around the lighthouse, just to reiterate, like, is in better shape than you would imagine a building left alone in a swamp for 500 years would have been. But it's the lighthouse that really looks spotless.
So what I'm hearing from Lars is we should spend as much time as possible outside the lighthouse fiddling around with unimportant seeming stuff. That's what I'm picking up on.
My favorite thing in these games is metagaming based on random bullshit that I say in the middle. It just conversationally.
You love it.
Who knows what direction I might send people spinning off into? The power that I wield is
right. We want to get to the bottom of this really important mystery that has to do with glowing lighthouses and well-kept doors. But I would rather nose around in the gutter outside.
Well, there was that kobold outside that we haven't quite figured out what his connection is with.
Do you mean the corpse I somewhat shamelessly threw several times?
at its bonded life companion.
I like to think you
pet,
danced with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the kobold and like it's a slurk that might or might not have been its maybe a past explorer or.
Okay, let's make a decision. We going through this door?
Yeah. I think we should just go through this one that's next to us.
Let's go through this door. Let's do it.
Maybe we should think about how we're gonna stack up outside this door.
Obviously, size order. True lead, right?
Reverse
I was
size
gonna
order.
pitch the reverse size order. Mag, Haplo, maybe Norman Trill.
Yeah, Norman wants to try and hide going in places when he can.
And as you're exploring, what are you guys doing? Last time Norman was hiding. Is that still Norman's?
I was going to say, I think
agenda?
Norman wants to try and hide before we open any door to take advantage of his ability to then run 25 feet and stab someone while hidden.
Sure.
Trill is also she's gonna stay to the side actually and try and be a little stealthy and not lead the way this time.
Okay.
She's gonna go against the wall and she just wants to peek her head around, try and be a little stealthy.
Plus, this gives Norman like 15 seconds to look wistfully up the stairs.
I think in general, when we go into a new place, if Mag is going first, she's gonna try to go in boldly. I guess you can't draw a weapon before you go in because that's not a thing. But
I allow it so you can draw a weapon before you open a door. But as you're exploring, you can't just like have a weapon ready to go.
Yeah. So whatever it would be that's sort of assertive, balls of her feet, kind of like ready to get a jump on anything unexpected that might be back there.
Okay, so one thing you could do is you could scout, which gives you everybody a bonus in initiative if you run into anybody, and the other thing you can do is defend, which you have your shield up the first round. So if you take hits from things that are faster than you, you have your shield up.
All right, let's scout.
And what is Haplo doing?
I think he'll still be investigating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So Haplo keeping his eyes open on his surroundings. So we've got Mag in front, and you creep this door open, and you hear the sound again of like wet wood sort of grinding up against rusted hinges. And you find yourself looking back at the exterior of the fortress. It seems that you have found your way back outside.
Oh, perfect. We can go check out that gutter.
Shall we move out to this exterior area and then make our way back towards the front of the fort?
Concur. I want to see what's going on out here to the west.
We'll sweep and...
I'm following you guys.
So as you look out of this door, you are reminded that this fortress that you're on is on an island. And you see, as you're looking at the edge of this island, that you see a boathouse in front of you with a rotting boat tied to a disintegrated dock leaning into the water to the west. To the north, you see a more intact bridge leading to what looks like a second island that you can see in the foggy distance. And you can see the perimeter of the fortress's decaying walls leading off to the northeast and down to the southwest.
All right, I guess Mag would be first through the door, and she is interested in getting a closer look at the boathouse and the boat that's tied to it.
So you work your way across the marshland over towards the boathouse. You see a door to the northeast corner of the boathouse as you approach.
Guys, before we go in, can we look up at that lighthouse? I want to see what the light is doing. I mean...
You turn back towards the lighthouse. It's around 9:50 in the morning, and the lighthouse is silent. No light, no nothing.
You guys all saw the light last night, right?
Yeah, I mean, but I guess lighthouses don't really do much during the day, do they?
But
if there's
but
no
did Rin tell
fog,
you
like-
guys to look for the light?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, there was light last night, but, there's no fog. I guess there's no reason for a lighthouse to be on, but who's putting the lighthouse on? There's so many bridges here, too. I'm looking around. It's just so watery and swampy and bridges everywhere, and I can't believe there's still so much in here.
Yes, it's a sprawling complex.
I figured it was just the lighthouse.
Oh, no.
I never would have thought there were waterways.
Does Haplo know anything Roseguard lore about like the layout or organization of the keep? Fingers crossed.
The layout or the organization of the keep. So you know that the Rose Guard, the four heroes from hundreds of years ago, fought this epical battle in the large rooms at the interior of the fortress. You don't know of anything that happened in the near the boathouse, and you don't know of anything that happened near in the lighthouse itself.
Gotcha.
Nothing speaks in the histories about the lighthouse. It's part of why I'm so curious.
I guess we check out the boathouse since it's closest?
Yeah.
Guys, I just want to say, I'll look at this boathouse because we're here, but I think after that we should get back inside and figure out what's going on in there. So let's look here, and then I'd like to go back inside.
Or should we wait till it's later to go in the lighthouse? Maybe wait till whatever lights it up is there.
Well, let's start here. Let's get cracking, huh?
Okay.
Yes, I suspect we'll be here for a while yet today.
What does the exterior of this lighthouse look like again?
It has white stones leading up to an iron-crowned top. You do notice that it seems to poke out of the fog in a way that makes it sort of captures this idea that the lighthouse itself is not terribly affected by the rigors of nature.
So it is quite foggy out as well.
As you step across the ground towards the lighthouse, your feet sort of squelch into the ground with every step. You smell the moisture in the air. It's very foggy, and you know your visibility is limited to some extent by the amount of moisture in the air.
I'm curious if Trill, with her whistleblower, would, in this kind of swampy, foggy area, if looking around, she can learn anything more about the environment around them.
Sure, I'll do a whistleblower check for you. You know that in this region,
Will-o'-the-wisp, if you will,
lurk in areas that are uninhabited and attempt to coax people toward them. But there isn't anything in particular about this specific location. The vibe that you get is more that this seems like the kind of place that wisps would be.
They would be around here.
Right.
Okay.
Are there any other doors we can kind of see? I know it's foggy. It looks like there's some kind of entrance down to the south of us that might lead back into, it looks like the walls continue from down around the lighthouse over to another. I can't quite tell what that is from where we are. Can we see that, Lars, or is that something we'd have to get closer to see?
So what you're able to see is that the fortress, as a fortified area, has arrow slits all over the place. So if you were to walk up to it and put your face up to it, you could probably see into the rooms, but there's no point of entrance that you're able to see from here. You just sort of see the walls of the fortress behind you and arrow slits every 10, 15, 20 feet or so behind you.
Guys, anyone mind if I take a quick peek and see what's in that room down there before we go in this boathouse? I'm just going to look in.
Yeah, be careful.
By all means.
Norman walks up to the closest arrow slit and he looks in.
Haplo sort of mutters to himself.
It'll be his own damn fool fault if he gets an arrow in the eye.
So Norman presses his face up against the damp, lichen-covered stone and finds himself looking into what looks like a dining room that has just been demolished.
Food fight?
Just pulverized by the ceiling, which has collapsed down on top of it.
Okay.
As you continue to peer around the room, you see maybe a couple tapestries hanging on the walls, but the room is covered with mold. The ceiling is basically entirely caved in, but you're able to see enough to tell that it was once a dining room.
Might have been a barbecue joint after all. Norman chuckles to himself and walks back and says, I don't know, just an old table and a bunch of mold. Let's go in here. Come on, let's go see what there is to see.
Okay.
For once, Norman and I agree. Shall we breach the door?
Mag doesn't need any further prompting, so she'll go ahead and open the door.
Norman hides.
So you creak the door of this boathouse open, and you see that the southern portion of this building has collapsed into rubble, exposing the interior of the boathouse to the elements. The shelves and boats within have decayed into heaps of rot and moss, but the embers of a relatively fresh campfire smolder nearby. You see one other way out of the building, which is a door to the northwest, presumably leading to the collapsed dock that has fallen into the water.
Mag wants to take a quick look around and see if there's anything that's either like a further sign of recent activity or anything of value.
And I also have Haplo investigating. So Mag and Haplo are come into the room and start to investigate.
Trill wanted to poke around for anything of value as well.
No, yeah.
Okay.
Norman's going anywhere they aren't looking for things of value.
So you sort of split up in this it's a pretty cramped room. You can't get too far away from each other. And you don't really find much of interest beyond that in this room. But again, you smell and see the signs of a campfire. It seems as though somebody was probably spending some time here relatively recently.
And the campfire's still warm.
Presumably the blood
This is kind of
being-
creepy.
preserved by the magic of the tower. We're not alone here.
Well, could have been those Mitflits, right? Or does anyone know anything about those little blue guys? Did they use fire?
I'll give you a nature check to see if this seems like a Mitflit kind of thing.
I mean, I'll do it. It's not going to work out for me. But when does that ever stop me?
You know two things about this fire. One is that it was definitely set by Mitflits. And the other is that, like, this fire looks like a fire that may have been set by one of the local thieves that live in the town of Otari nearby. So as far as you can tell, it looks like it's both Mitflits and thieves from town.
Does Norman have dubious knowledge?
He sure does.
Norman does have the
He sure
dubious
does.
knowledge feat,
Oh.
which, when he critically fails a knowledge roll, tells him one correct thing and one false thing.
Guys, I'm getting the sense it's from thieves and the Mitflits. They came and they set it together.
That's surprising.
Mag
What?
just stares at the gauze that's still on his face.
It's kind of flapping on one corner now.
Yes, that really fixed the wound, Norman.
I'm feeling better every minute.
So Trill's looking around. She's like, guys, I think this might have been kind of a dead end. I don't really see anything here.
Yes, let's poke our heads out the door and simply ensure that we haven't missed anything.
And Haplo opens the door.
You find yourself looking onto this wooden pier.
Oh.
Much of it has collapsed into the swamp, leaving about 10 feet of moldy, soggy boards slumped against ancient wood pilings. A rowboat tied to a piling looks much more recently built.
Huh.
Ah,
What'd you say about thieves?
Yeah, I bet those Mitflits and those thieves rode here together in that boat and set that fire.
that would be a sight to see.
I mean, could it have just been thieves and not the Mitflits with them?
I don't know. I checked that fire and they did it together. It doesn't make any sense otherwise.
Or perhaps there were Mitflits, but not thieves, eh?
But do Mitflits take boats?
They seem pretty at home here.
I guess, I mean, I'm the lightest. I guess I'm the one who should probably go out and try and check that out, shouldn't I?
Well, get after it, old sport.
You keep calling me old. I don't think you know what that word means.
I just mean you're experienced and smart. And he
Okay.
smiles.
So Trill kind of nods and looks. At this point, Trill actually looks to Mags a bit because Trill knows that Trill's starting to learn. She's starting to. She's been on her own for so long. Like, she travels on her own, so she's just usually takes responsibility for her own shit. And she's like, I'm gonna do dumb shit, but no one's gonna suffer for it from me. And even just like this morning of just these morning travels, she's kind of realized like, oh, maybe when I'm with a crew, I should like check in with people before I do things. So she kind of looks to Mags for approval first before she heads out on the pier.
That pier looks better built for you than for me.
Okay. So Trill goes out onto the pier to check out that boat a little bit closer.
Okay, so you delicately step onto the pier. It's slippery, it's covered with algae, and you smell the rotting wood as you step out onto it. You're able to sort of sturdy yourself going from pylon to pylon to work your way to the north of the pier. And you're able to tug on the rope that the boat is connected to and draw it alongside the pier.
What does the boat look like? What kind of boat is it? Is it open like a rowboat, or is it like there's multiple levels to it?
It's a small rowboat, about 10 feet long. It looks like if the four of you wanted to get into it, it looks sturdy enough that it could support you if you wanted to use it. As you look into the boat, as it clonks against the side of the pier, you see
Teeth.
The whole its teeth all the way down.
Filled with teeth.
Yeah.
You see a what looks like a stash of pastries, and you see that there's something near the bow of the boat that you can't really see from here, but you hear something rattling around at the front of the boat.
Can I do a Bialy lore check?
Yeah, so you could give me anybody who wants to take a look at these pastries could do a society check.
Well, I definitely. So yeah, Trill kind of looks and she goes, "Ooh, sweets! I like sweets."
I missed my morning snack.
So she gets closer to the boat and she's trying to now get into the point where she can reach this bag of sweets, of these doughy items to try and grab them.
I've done a secret society check for Trill. You take a look at these at this pastry and you hold it to your nose and you smell it and you realize it is not sweets. It's actually
cocaine.
Savory. It's delicious cocaine. It's a savory pastry. It's
savory cocaine, not sweet cocaine.
It's
a dinner
smoked
cocaine,
salmon,
not a dessert cocaine.
Smoked salmon.
Yeah, it's
Wait,
smoked
what?
salmon.
Smoked salmon? Seriously?
Yes. Okay, everybody pay attention.
I'm sorry. You've been to do my
wait.
favorite thing, smoked salmon and cocaine.
I thought it was cocaine. Is anyone taking notes?
So the pastry is smoked salmon encased in a fish-shaped doughy exterior. Ooh. And you know that this is the fish cakes that are sold at the Crook's Nook in Otari.
Cool. Guys. These are Crook's Nook Snooks.
Oh, I love these things. I get free ones all the time when I'm helping people with their teeth at Crook's Nook.
Oh my gosh, I love these things.
He doesn't go too far out on the pier, but he sort of leans in and tries to grab one.
She grabs Trill's like grabbing the bag. She's excited.
Okay. And what was in the sorry, maybe Haplo didn't hear or know. Have we looked at the front of the boat or just
I've entirely been focused on these pastries.
Fish pastries?
Oh, these are the ones they make with dill. They're so good. And Norman's just like chowing down.
I remember.
That does sound good. Guys, let's stop playing and just eat some salmon dill cakes.
Right?
Let's
that sounds
make
so
that happen.
good.
Listener, if you aren't snacking from before, you better start.
Exactly.
I'm bringing all the food lore today.
That's going to be this podcast's hook, is that the food that we describe in the adventures is incredibly delectable and delicious.
It's going to be like, did you ever read the book, the Redwall books, when you were a kid?
Yes.
I was like the Redwall cookbooks, and all you wanted to do was just eat everything that Brian Jack described in the books?
Yes.
When I was a kid, I met Brian Jacks, and he shook my hand, and he told that story about how he wanted everything to sound delicious.
Oh my gosh! Those
it
are
was
my
the coolest thing
favorite
ever.
books. I have probably reread Madame Mayo like 3 or 4 times at least.
You know, it's incredible that you mentioned specifically the food scenes, because I can remember being whatever age I was, 9, 10, 12, 8. I don't know exactly. And like reading those feast scenes and getting hungry.
Oh my gosh.
And like literally I have specific memories of like stopping putting down the book and going to eat. It's so crazy that you mentioned that.
So when we started this, I was going to say this is like a tabletop role-playing podcast crossed with Great British Bake Off, which I think is sort of the adult version of what we're saying, right? It's just the...
Oh yeah.
It's the
We're gonna
thing
get that Mighty Boosh dude in here, and everybody's gonna tell me how hilarious he is, and I'm gonna.
I'm not really gonna get it, right?
I love Noel Fielding.
Bring back Sue.
The salmon dill roll has really good flavor, but it's underproofed.
Yeah,
it's got a soggy bottom.
That's a nice bake.
It's a shame.
Listen
really.
to that.
Okay. So
from now on, only Paul Hollywood jokes.
So Trill has handed back the lovely salmon dill Crooks Nooks Snooks, as I have named them now. Yep. And she's looking now at this other part of the boat that was kind of weirdly moving. Like, hey guys, wait, there's something else in here.
Yeah, there's something rattling around at the front of the boat.
Maybe it's
What do you
kittens,
see?
Norman says.
I mean, I like kittens.
Let's check it out.
There's very little evidence from where Trill is standing that it is kittens.
So Trill, being Trill, as much as she's tried to learn her lesson, she's still just like, oh, well, this is my mission now. Let's go see what this is. And she's pulling the boat a little closer and trying to move it down along the side of the pier so she can get a closer look at the bow of the boat to see what's going on there.
So you get on like your hands and knees moving towards the bow of the boat, and you are able to catch in your hand a carving of a flying bird.
Ooh.
That seems to have become detached from the boat. Like it's attached at the to the interior of the boat with two small pins, and one of those pins has come detached. So this engraving of a flying bird is sort of rattling back and forth.
What?
Neat. Trill's like, this is pretty. I'm gonna put that. Same with that bead that I snuck away earlier.
Hey, what was that? Norman says, having seen her pull it out. Doesn't look like a kitten.
Has anyone ever seen any? Like, she's really taken by it. It's like, has anyone ever seen this shape or this figure before?
Yeah, is there any writing on it, or would swamp lore help identify the type of bird?
Or maybe something related to the town of Otari?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could make a society check if you wanted to see if you knew anything about people that use this sort of identification.
I bet I can figure it out, Norman says, doing a society check.
I think we should go to Haplo.
Haplo will also try a society check on that.
Norman's like, I think I know. And Charles goes, Haplo, do you want to take a look at this?
Norman has learned that it is that is definitely Otarian in origin,
bird.
and also that it is definitely Canadian in origin.
Maybe a bird. Definitely Canadian.
Might
I
be
love
explosive.
the dubious knowledge feat so much. I think it's so awesome.
I have done secret society checks for both Norman and Haplo, and neither of you are able to quite recognize this particular symbol.
It
Well,
doesn't
Trill,
ring a bell.
Trill's got these big, she's got this big hairdo, and gnomes love hats, so she kind of figures out how to and kind of weaves it into her hair. So
Like
she
a
basically has
fascinator?
bird on top of her head as a fascinator. Yeah,
Is there anything else in the front of that boat, or was it just that bird clanging around?
I think it's just my new hat.
Oh no, I don't mean, is there anything else on the bird? I mean, when you pulled the bird out of the boat, is there anything else?
That's what she's saying. She's like, I don't think there's anything else there.
Yeah, there's nothing else in the boat.
Well, it's good
Okay,
to know we
guys.
have an alternate means of egress if we need it.
Well,
Yeah,
guys,
I think this boat would hold all of us. This boat looks pretty sturdy. Like, I don't know a lot about boats, but it looks good.
I'm starting to think that maybe some thieves and some mitflits rode in here to try and take whatever this light is that we're looking for. I'm wondering if we should drag this boat somewhere else and tie it up somewhere else, so if they try to get away, they don't know where their boat is, but we can find it.
That's not a terrible idea.
Yeah, that's weirdly on point.
And he grins. I know, guys, right?
Haplo extends his hand out and slowly gives a
Ooh, the
significant
Paul Hollywood
handshake.
shake.
Yes, the Paul Hollywood shake. This will be how Haplo expresses his approval from now on. I wasn't kidding about the only Paul Hollywood jokes.
Sorry, Lars.
No, it's fine. I'm glad you guys enjoy this show where British people eat food. It sounds good.
No one eats
and,
anything. They just bake, Lars.
And I'm glad that the dude from the Mighty Boosh is there to share his comedy with
And Prue
everybody.
Leith.
There are so many wonderful things, Lars, about being friends with you, and right very high up on the list is how
Is the fact that the reference is Mighty Boosh that he makes.
I do love the Mighty Boosh.
I was gonna say, you can count on Lars to have a strong opinion one way, or you are. It is a bimodal evaluation. It's and I'm always, sometimes when a new thing comes up, I'm just on tenterhooks. Will Lars be all in or all out?
I just look. Here's the problem: is that
Hero
about
point for
14
tenterhooks.
14 years ago, everybody was creaming their proverbial jeans about the Mighty Boosh and about how hilarious that show was. And if they hadn't done that, I wouldn't have an opinion about it now. I would just be like, oh, right. That's that unfunny, that's that try-hard British garbage that sucks, that I hate.
I have so many British friends who want to fight with you right now.
Good. Bring them on. Bring them on. I'll yell,
Legions
I'm
of
old Greg
listeners,
or whatever
write
at
in
them.
and tell him how wrong he is.
He will crush them like so many overcooked souffles, collapsed souffles.
Having lived in England in the late 2000 aughts, that like hearing you, I myself actually have never watched any Mighty Boosh.
You did a good choice.
It just never seemed
Hard
like my
disagree.
thing, but I have so many friends who just love it so much. Like I had a
I
friend
know.
who bailed on like a big fancy Thanksgiving dinner who's like, this is when you have Thanksgiving? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be at a Mighty Boosh show.
It's time for me to hit the boosh.
I actually don't know what the Mighty Boosh is, so I'm assuming that it's Mary Berry's Sublime
Cool, huh?
cover band.
Well, David wins the podcast. Let's
let's
wrap
call
it
it.
up here, guys.
Let's just run the credits.
Yeah, there's a handshake, and we all walk into the sunset
Yeah,
Yeah,
now.
Lars, can you quickly get some creature over here to jump at one of our throats so we can...
Oh God, please!
Yeah, no problem. There's a river drake. Just kidding. Just kidding. There's no river drake.
Well, so where can we pull this boat? What's up with
Yeah.
this bridge thing up here to the sort of northeast of us? It looks like, could we tuck it under there?
So to answer your question, how do you move the boat? I'm going to say that as long as somebody is grabbing a hold of the rope connected to the boat, you can walk it around the entire anywhere you would like to.
Well, Trill unties the boat. She's still closest. She's the one on the pier, and kind of goes to hand it to like Aplo or Mag or anyone who's bigger than her, anyone who's got a bit more strength to drag that thing around the coastline. Who wants to take it?
Mag will take it.
Great.
Okay. And there is this more intact bridge to the north that Zoe, you were asking about.
Yeah, we could tuck it under there, or if it won't hide there, we can see what's a little further up the coast. I mean, I don't want to spend all day on this, but it'd be nice to keep those thieves and those mifflets from just getting away in this thing.
Yeah, it seems like a good place to put it.
Sounds good. Besides, if they're teaming up, we definitely don't want them having a boat too.
Right. We saw mifflets plus maggots. Think about if you had a thief in there.
Ugh, terrible.
But the Mitflets ride the thief?
Pulling its hair like Ratatouille.
The only thing more dangerous than midflits and thieves is
Mary Berry's
midflits
hoo-ha?
working with thieves. Oh, come on now. Come on now. Our listeners are trying to eat.
I apologize.
This is Marion Barry, the former mayor of Washington, D.C. that you're talking about, right?
That's
Yes, absolutely.
We
On
actually
one of
had
his
a
vendors.
Nickelback band. Yeah.
So Mag grabs a hold of the rope, and you guys are walking this boat along the shore of the island towards this low bridge that connects the island to another smaller island. The low bridge is spanning the watery gap between the two islands, and as you approach the bridge, you're able to see that a single-story building sits amid the thick reeds growing on the smaller island. So just to flesh out the area, you're on this large island with the fortress of Gauntlet Keep behind you to the south, and you're facing north, looking at this low bridge leading to a smaller island with a smaller outpost building.
Should we go across this bridge?
Well, let's tie the boat up first.
Oh, yeah.
Mag is looking for a place.
Can we pull it up on the shore underneath the bridge?
Exactly.
Yeah, I was thinking of tucking it under the bridge.
It's so that it's still
Not
there.
obviously visible.
like quick getaway if we want it, but someone who comes running out to the other pier to look for it couldn't find it.
Right, because if all we want is for other people not to be able to use it, we should just sink the fucking thing.
No, but we might
we
want it.
might want it.
Right, exactly. So I think the idea here is like looking for a spot that it can be secured but using the bridge as concealment. So we'll know where it is, but it's out of sight of anybody else who might be, around looking for
Love it.
So you get on, you sort of start crawling into the swamp itself. Like the swamp comes up to about your knees as you crouch down and roll the boat. So it's sort of sitting topside down on the marsh underneath the bridge. You're able to sort of wedge it in there enough that you get the feeling that it won't go anywhere, but also that the only way you'd be able to see it is if you were looking for it. As of now, it just sort of is there in the shadow underneath the bridge.
Excellent work, Mag.
Mag needs to take a moment on the near side bank on the south side where we've been coming from, just to scrape some of the extra marsh gunk off, and then she'll continue on over the bridge along with the rest.
As Trill walks across the bridge, she pauses at the center kind of apex and looks around, just trying to... It's still kind of foggy, and she's still just feeling very wary of being in this swampy, foggy area, and is just keeping an eye out for any signs of lights shining that aren't coming from the lighthouse.
Okay, so Trill starts scouting specifically for
Creepy lights.
any strange lights.
Yeah.
Norman, only sort of paying attention, looks back at Trill and goes, "Hey, that bird looks great in your hair."
Oh, thanks.
So yeah, the four of you approach this door. I imagine Trill and Mag are both scouting. Haplo is investigating, and Norman is hiding.
That's the
Chewing
idea.
and hiding.
You're set up in front of this big double door. What would you like to do?
Should we check for traps first?
Ooh, like it. Good
Haplo,
thought,
you're
Haplo.
smart.
What do you see?
Thank you.
Who would like to search for traps?
I can.
Okay, so Norman and Haplo, is Haplo also searching for traps?
Sure.
Always good to have backup for old Norman.
Norman, let me just help, just in case.
Norman stops hiding and starts investigating for traps. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Zoe, Norman has the trap finder feat, which means that he can search for traps and hide at the same time.
Yeah, that's right. And chew.
So yeah,
rogues.
you both managed to get
roguish ways.
a good look at the door, and neither of you see any traps. It just kind of looks to you like this is another door that has been kind of wedged shut. As you look at it, you see that it's at a sort of askance angle that keeps it from being able to swing open.
Mags would like to bust this door down using her one of her feats, which is being a giant person.
Yeah, so go ahead and give me an athletics check to try to force this door open.
With pleasure. All right, so that is an 11 on the die for an 18.
Yeah, so you sink your shoulder into the door, and you hear it creak and try to resist you for a moment, and then it just like pops open, and you find yourself looking into another room. It looks like a study. It's you're not in the room yet, so you can't get a great look at it, but you can see there are bookshelves and everything is sort of strewn all over the place. It looks like a pretty messed up study.
All right, I want to step inside.
Anyone there? Norman calls out.
You hear a deep voice call out.
I am the wispy ghost. Spooky Wisp.
And then you see lights start to shake back and forth in the room.
Light.
Trill
Norman whispers.
sticks her head towards the door, and she's trying to figure out everything she remembers from her Whistlore. She's like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, so you can do a Whistlore check to take a look at this and determine how what's going on with these
lights. Is this
lights.
really wisps, or is this someone trying to trick us and scare us?
Doesn't sound all that authentically wispy.
So you take a step back, I'm imagining that this light pops up and you sort of like have to catch your breath for a moment.
Oh yeah.
And then you realize, no, this is absolutely not a wisp. The way these lights are dancing back and forth, this is some other magical
Guys,
effect.
I've seen wisps before. This is no Will of the Wisp.
I don't know what this is, but we gotta get inside and figure it out, because this is not a will-o'-the-wisp. This is someone just trying to scare us off.
I bet there's someone who'd be willing to work with us, and Norman winks.
Can Haplo make an Arcana check?
Sure. So Haplo takes a look at this magical effect and does an Arcana check as you try to identify the magic that you're seeing. And you see that this is somebody casting the spell Dancing Lights.
It's as you said, some trickster is attempting to deceive us.
Oh, they want dancing lights? I'll get them dancing lights. Can I cast my dancing lights right back?
Yeah, absolutely. You cast Dancing Lights back in the room, and there's like a brief pause, and you hear a voice go back.
It seems that you are also a wispy ghost.
And at that, Norman makes ghost sounds to try and throw them off.
Okay, can I have a deception check from Norman, please?
I was hoping I'd get to do the deception check. I imagine Norman's pretty good too.
Okay, that's a 19.
Yeah.
And what's Haplo doing?
Oh, Haplo is just watching this occur, trying not to giggle or laugh and keep a very serious demeanor. But he's like gradually sliding his sword out as he starts sort of trying to hold back the chuckles.
And Trill's just making the lights dance everywhere.
She's like, oh, you want lights? I'll give you lights.
Mag is interested in walking into the room and seeing if she can see whoever it is that's attempting this sort of like what seems to be on its face a pretty silly ruse.
Sure.
With the notion of not so much like hitting it when she sees it as ultimately probably trying to scare it, intimidate it into stopping, explaining itself, that kind of thing.
So Mag steps into the room as the ghost, or as the wispy ghost. As Spooky Wisp, the wispy ghost, sort of calls out and says,
Wispy friend, why are you with 3 and 4 non-wisp? What's happening?
And Mag looks into the room and sees crouched underneath this broken desk. That's not remotely the right music. Hold on a second.
Really funny music.
As Mag walks in, Trill stays very close to Mags and follows Mags in.
Yeah, so the two of you creep into the room and you see hiding underneath the desk, using some sort of magic to throw its voice, you see a small humanoid creature with opaque black eyes, long ears, and unruly, curly, blonde hair.
Let's call it a Cabbage Patch doll.
And you hear the voice say,
Step away from Spooky Wisp.
Trill sees this and Trill just thinks, that looks like one of my baby cousins. And she kind of starts playing with the lights and doing the lights make kind of cool, fun motions in front of this creepy little bizarre Cupid doll and gets a little closer because like they look kind of like their cousins. She's like, hey, how you doing? You a little scared under here? What's going on?
The voice drops and the lights completely go away. And this creature looks at you and says, I suppose you didn't believe Tangletop's ruse?
Well, no, because I can do the same thing. I knew what it was right away, honey.
And Norman sort of steps in behind Trill and he goes, I think you did great.
Were you spooked? Were you spooked by my wispy ghost?
Oh, buddy, we were out there trembling.
I was scared for a minute. Yeah, that was real good. If I hadn't been there, I bet all of these big guys behind us, they would have run screaming.
Give me a high five. And Norman reaches down with a hand.
Thank you. I will keep to myself. If I do have a request, as long as you are here, you could help me, maybe?
Oh, definitely.
What's going on? What's got you so scared? Why'd you have to pull those big tricks to try and scare us off?
Hey, while we're talking, would you like one of these delicious fish cakes? And Norman, who's had the bag of the fish cakes, hands one to the creature.
It bites into the fish cakes and sort of starts eating and talking and says, "Well, I'm here because I want the shiny.
What's the shiny?
There's a shiny in the room in the next a few rooms over.
Oh, we like shinies. Tell us about the shiny.
I will tell you all of the secrets I have found if you find me the shiny."
Okay. Which room is the shiny in?
Well, I don't know if we should agree to potentially give this creature.
Yeah, he cuts a big gash on his hand and is like, "Give me your blood. We will make a blood pact."
Trill looks back at Haplo. Is like, weren't you the one just saying we need to explore everything?
For history.
Well, I bet there's history in this room. Look at all these books. They're probably kind of waterlogged and a little fucked up.
Little buddy, while he's looking at those books, tell me a little more about this shiny. What can we do to help you? Where is this shiny, and what have you done to find it?
You'll know the shiny when you see it.
Can you give us any sense of where we might be going to find it?
He rolls his eyes and he says, it's in a few rooms over. There's a shiny. I want the shiny.
So it's in this building.
Yes.
You know what,
Okay.
you guys? I bet if we keep asking this question, but slightly differently, eventually we're going to learn a lot more about where it is.
Max, you're real good at opening doors. You want to open a couple doors instead of sassing us?
Hold on. There are books here. I will read these books.
So Haplo Haplo shouts everybody down, takes a look at the books. The pages have been torn out of all of these books and thrown all around the room. Try as you might to get a sense of what is contained in these books. It's just too disorganized and destroyed for you to get anywhere.
Haplo is furious.
Norman looks through the drawers on the desk.
Same. Anywhere you look in the room, and this creature gets impatient and says, "Okay, since that strong one wanted me to say something different. I want a sparkling, glowing tube. I want it.
Max, come help.
Yeah, Mags
And he looks at Haplo and Norman as you're investigating the room, and says, "If you bring me the shiny, I will tell you all about the person who used to be here before me."
Although a bit curious about how long ago that was, Mag is going to just go ahead and start opening. So it looks like we can see 4, in addition to the double doors we came through, it looks like, Lars, maybe there's 4 other doors here, or is that 2 other sets of doubles?
So there's a set of double doors to the west. There's one door to the south towards the middle of the room, and another door towards the south to slightly to the further to the west.
I don't know. Mag is feeling like going clockwise here. So she'll start with the nearest one on the southern wall of the room.
Norman draws a dagger out just to be ready.
Haplo also
And
keeps his
falls
sword out.
falls back to hide.
I guess this time, rather than scouting, Mag is going to do the shield raising situation. Since everyone else wouldn't have occurred to Mag, but everyone else seems pretty nervous. So let's just go ahead and raise the shield while we...
Trill's just looking.
It's got to be some reason this little thing hasn't just walked in and gotten the shiny, right?
Oh, yes, there's a mean doll in there that will try to stop you from getting the shiny. But I will tell you 3 secrets if you bring it to me. So the doll, it will try to kill you, but the secrets are good.
Is it just a doll?
Oh, yes, but it's a very mean doll.
Upon hearing words of the doll, Trill pulls out her dagger, just in case.
So Mag is trying this door towards the middle of the room.
Yeah.
You open the door, and you find yourself looking into a room with shelves laden with tools, lumber, and planks lining the walls of this 10-foot square room.
Any useful tools?
Yeah.
Say like a doll basher?
Is this an enchanted shed, or?
You search the shelves around the room. And the main thing that you find is a large silver key on one of the shelves.
Hey, I'd be happy to hold that.
Maybe I'll hang on to this one.
That seems... And Haplo looks at Norman and narrows his eyes.
Prudent.
And Norman just chuckles to himself. You guys. As if this is just the greatest joke in town.
So I have dropped that key into your inventory, David, so you have it moving forward.
So I think we're all satisfied with that one. So maybe we'll try the next one off to the left there, which is, I guess, just to the west of the door we tried on the southern wall of, what was it? Tabletop?
Yeah, Tabletop.
Tabletop Gold, anyone?
My name is Tabletop.
No shiny in there, little guy. Norman shouts back.
No, it's not in. It's through those double doors. What are you doing?
All right,
Well,
let's
go get the
It was
shiny.
through the double doors. Let's check out this door anyway. What's over here?
Yeah. We're doing the next one.
Sorry, bud, we're all OCD. Norman shouts back.
You open the door, and you see moss and fungus coating stairs leading downward.
Interesting.
All right.
Yeah, these are stairs leading down into the darkness.
Should we maybe get the shiny first and see what this little Cupid doll can tell us about the stairs?
Mag, with her eyes a little wider than usual, nods slowly and just slowly pulls the door back shut.
Haplo leans in and says, perhaps before we come back, we ought to have a discussion of whether or not the shiny is to be given to Tabletop.
Oh, obviously, says Norman.
Agreed.
I mean, we could take Tabletop.
As you approach this double door to the west, you notice that there is a bag that is closed, like cinched tight at the like underneath a nearby desk.
What's in here? Norman says, and sort of.
Damn it, she's so
Now,
fast.
Norman, of course, goes for that first, please.
So you open up this bag, and you find 3
Teeth.
potions inside of it.
Oh,
Are they healing?
looks like some potions.
Yeah, if anybody would like to identify these potions, you can spend 10 minutes to do a knowledge check on them.
Tangletop's gonna scream at us for 10 minutes.
I was gonna say maybe Trill could do something to entertain Tangletop, like
I guess, yeah. You know what? Sure, Trill will distract Tangletop with a song while
Yeah,
someone
give me
else
a
identifies
give me a
these.
performance check.
Do we have the auto harp today?
Give me a moment.
Gotta tune it.
Trill pulled out her harp and decided, okay, let everyone fade us out and just kind of start there we go, entertaining a little bit, and she rolls a 24.
Okay, so you start playing the song and dancing, and Tangletop claps in delight and starts like dancing back and forth as
You put your right foot in.
as the rest of you start looking at these potions. Who would like to try to identify? I guess you can. All 3 of you can attempt to identify, since there are 3 identical-looking potions.
Let's do it. Cool. What are we're rolling a knowledge check?
Any magical check. So it would be either religion, occultism, arcana, or the other one. What is it? Survival? Nature.
Not that. I'm doing arcana.
I'll do occultism.
I'll do secret checks for you.
Oh, but that was such a good roll.
I'll do
I know.
anything left over. I have +0 for all of that.
You take a look at these potions, and both Haplo and Norman are able to recognize these as minor healing potions.
If I weren't already feeling so good, I might take one.
So the story with healing potions is, if you have one in your hand, you can spend an action to drink it. Or if you're next to somebody, you can and you have one in your hand, you can spend an action to get them to drink it. But getting it in your hand, you either want to have it in your hand ahead of when you want it, or you need to spend an action to pull it off of your like bandolier.
So it's essentially 2 actions.
Unless you have it prepped ahead of time. Yeah.
How much does a healing potion tend to heal as someone who's new to this?
This will heal a D8 hit points.
So what do we want to do? Does one person want to carry all 3, or do we want to spread them out?
Haplo wouldn't mind taking one, I think.
And I feel like Mags is most likely to be in the line of duty.
She is, although she's also more likely to maybe be using her actions for other stuff. Like if someone wants to hold them and hand them to her or whatever. I don't know. I don't think she'd feel that strongly. She has a ton of hit points.
I'm happy to
And
take
both
2.
her hands are going to be...
Well, why don't I'll take one and you'll take one and you'll take one and let's go. Let's go through the door.
Yeah. Let's get around this corner.
Let's deal with
here
this little doll thing.
I mean, do you think it's going to be my sized?
Probably
It's
smaller.
like Trill's asking as she gets closer. Is it going to be smaller? Is it going to be bigger?
As long as it's not my sized.
Yes, that would be suboptimal.
You open the double doors leading to the west. You find yourself in a hall that has a series of 4 tall paintings hanging on the northwestern wall, although layers of mold and decay have severely damaged them. At the end of the wall to the southwest, you see double doors leading to the south.
Hey, Haplo, you recognize any of these paintings? Who are these people?
Roseguard lore, please.
You take a look at these 4 portraits as they're arranged around the room. The first you're able to recognize is a painting of the city of Absalom in flames, with ghosts rising from its streets. It bears a bronze plaque that reads, "So shall the fools suffer." The second portrait depicts Gauntlet Keep as it appeared before its upper floors collapsed, and its lighthouse is emitting a pale blue light in which ghostly faces sneer and grimace. Its bronze plaque reads, "Let the light shine forever." The third portrait has been shredded. It looks like somebody has taken a knife to it and run gash after gash after gash after gash through it, and you can't discern who it is that this portrait depicts. But its plaque underneath says, "The artist at work." The fourth and final portrait depicts a woman wearing a long green gown with a smirk on her face, and its plaque reads, "The Lady of the Light."
Belcora.
And you see written in a language that none of you understand, just random symbols that none of you know how to interpret.
Do they seem happy though? Like, is it pretty tagging?
Right. Like fun symbols.
I'll do a perception check to sense motive for Norman. And you don't have a great sense of the intent behind this writing.
Might have been those mitflits and those thieves.
Maybe. These are kind of creepy, guys.
Yes.
Who put these paintings here?
Do we have those inscriptions written down?
I wrote them down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we able to tell by looking what might have caused the damage to the third painting? Like either what sort of person might have done it, what sort of object might have been used to destroy the painting in that way?
I'd say that it's impossible to tell like motivation, but you can tell that it's slashed with a dagger to the degree that you can't see who it is anymore.
Oh, so it seems to be a figure of some sort, but we just can't tell
Yes,
who.
there's a
artist or
person.
Oh, you said portrait, right?
Yeah, it's a figure that and the painting has been defaced.
Okay. But the plaque says the artist at work.
The artist at work.
Portrait of the artist as a young man working.
Well, that's interesting. So it makes it seem like there's 2 people involved. Like there's Belcora, and then there's someone else who maybe makes all of this go.
It seems to me like there's some sort of purging of ghosts from Absalom, which some sort of death necromancy thing is fueling the light.
Yeah.
And that in turn is giving Belcora some sort of power, or is tied to Belcora's power.
I
I'm not
wonder
sure
if they're
Norman is quite
drawn
pleased.
from Absalom or elsewhere to this lighthouse when it's operating. Like if this is summoning them to this area or something.
I would think it's like they're raising ghosts to raise Absalom, right?
Right,
Yeah,
sort of like you frack to then be able to power your car. Like you kill a bunch of people on Absalom to then have
Makes
power.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't we think that it's in reverse order, that the Absalom is the consequence of the light shining?
Interesting.
Oh, interesting. I take it as the opposite of that. I take like there's a slaughter in Absalom, those deaths and ghosts like come to, but I mean, who knows,
Right.
right?
What Matt's saying makes sense. It might be that it's Belcora, then this other person, then the light goes on, and then Absalom is in ruins. That
I mean, Gauntlight is like it's a ghost light. So is it calling the ghost or is it releasing the ghosts?
Well, it might be calling the ghosts from another realm to release them here.
I guess it could be doing both, releasing them and summoning them to the spot.
It's a clean energy.
Hey guys, let's go find this doll.
Yeah.
Word.
Let's go fuck up this doll.
Word.
I love all this stuff about light, though. Norman mumbles to himself as he continues
Oh
down
yeah,
the
this
hall.
is great.
What was that, Norman?
So we've got these.
I'm just saying, let's find that light, bud.
Haplo is very sensitive when he thinks he can't hear. You know, he can,
He's definitely a little hard of hearing.
I lost some of my hearing in the Fiend Flesh siege 3 years ago.
So there's some doors, I guess. Hey Mags, I guess we got some more doors to open.
Mags turns, looks down at Trill, nods once, tidily, and heads back over to the door.
I like that Trill has her own bodyguard now.
Yeah, we got a little master and blaster thing going. I kind of enjoy it. Mag doesn't always
Tall
have the
and
ideas
small.
fast enough, but she knows a good one when she hears it. All right, so I think this time Mag is going to be, defending, holding the shield, rather than scouting.
Haplo will draw his
Trill's
sword.
got her harp out ready in case she needs to send off a spell.
Norman's got his dagger, but is hiding.
So Mag pushes the door open. The double doors creak open, and you find yourself looking into a once elegant workshop that has fallen into shambles. Soggy strings of dripping moss hang through cracks in the wooden domed roof above. Below it, a carpet of broken glass glitters dangerously. Workbenches and shelves, armatures and displays, all formerly used in crafting or repairing immense lenses for a lighthouse, lie in ruins. Only a bejeweled spyglass sitting on a display rack near the southern wall has survived the devastation.
So bejeweled spyglass could be the shiny.
It seems like the shiny, yeah.
That's pretty shiny.
Does anyone have detect magic?
I mean, I think we can expect that doll to drop right the fuck out of that ceiling, right? Or whatever.
Yeah, Trill kind of walks in and she's like, well, that looks kind of shiny. So she kind of steps around Mag
Wait a
little bit.
minute.
Miss
Yeah, wait.
Trill, wait!
Oh, yeah,
And
Trill,
starts
don't.
to step into the room without waiting.
Trill steps into the room, and Trill is able to see that at the center, there's a mound of cloth, buttons, and random pieces of ceramic. Shortly after Trill steps into the room, this mound of seemingly random items starts to stand up. First, a ceramic bowl with an eye painted on it in ink, with a carved wooden beak, rises off the ground, propped up by a pair of wings made of black fabric. A pair of legs covered in roughly cut burlap rises off the floor, and you realize that you are looking at a large, nearly life-size doll of a half-boy, half-bird. Is Master Azenray coming back? The animated doll asks, cocking its head uncannily to the side.
Hey, Trill, is that bird the same one that's in your hair?
It looks kind of like what's in my hair.
See if you can tell him that one of us is Norman's whispering from beyond the door, but loudly whispering. See if you can tell him one of us is Azenray and offer him that bird.
I don't know if that's gonna work. Trill's just like absolutely frozen.
Well, we gotta try something. Jesus.
I'm trying to remember, honestly, I feel like I heard Azenray before. Where have I heard, where would Trill have heard
Does that
Azenray
name mean
before?
anything to any of us?
That name does not mean anything
Okay.
to you.
For some reason, it sounded familiar.
You are planted like you have no idea who this is.
Try it.
She reaches up like almost absentmindedly to the bird that she's attached to her head and doesn't quite know why. Like she's reaching for it. She goes, Azenrate, he's coming back in a little bit. And he sent me, I'm a friend, right? You can see. And she points to the bird in her hair. And I'm here to he asked me to come get that shiny thing. And she points to...
Norman hisses.
She points to the thing on the other side of the room.
The doll's head pivots like nearly in a 180-degree angle, looks back at the spyglass, turns back towards you, and just seethes, whispering, "You are not my creator!" The doll screeches with indignation and leaps in the air, flapping its handmade wings, and moves to attack. And we will pick up from there next time.
Why is Cheryl so proud of this? I'm going to run in somewhere and freak out.
The Roots of Ruin is a Tabletop Gold production, produced under the Paizo Incorporated Community Use Policy. The Roots of Ruin uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's Community Use Policy. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. Paizo does not recognize, endorse, or sponsor this project in any way. Original characters and content are the property of Tabletop Gold. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. We at Tabletop Gold would love to hear from you. Email us at letters@tabletopgold.com and find all our social links at tabletopgold.com.